I think what you were saying about rage is really important, and anger, but I think it's something I feel is really important anyway, that often, particularly as women, we're socialised not to express our anger. That whether you are, a person, often depression can be rage internalised. So I would have really encouraged my sister, if I could talk to her again, to externalise that anger and that rage that she was feeling, that she internalised and took out on herself, because that was just a flaw in the programming. It wasn't the road that she had to go down. And I think what you're saying about you almost it's not you, it's your programming, that is so important. And to acknowledge your rage and feel your rage, whether it's the person in that situation or whether it's us who are grieving. So I definitely had so much anger that this had happened to us, it had happened to her. And you're right, there is something particular about suicide that's like nothing else. And it's very hard to explain. And you don't want anyone else to understand, because to understand would mean they've experienced it. And it's not healed, like you say, it's just you learn to live with it. One of the best books that I read was C.S. Lewis has got a book called A Grief Observed. It's the only book I read that really cut through to me at all during that period. And one of the things he says in it is he lost his wife to cancer, and he says that he was so grateful to have known her, because often, particularly family, we think that we have a right to know them, but what a great blessing to have had them in the first place. And that was a thought that kept going with me and still comes back to mind now. Is I'm really grateful, and I want to use that, take that darkness and use it for celebration. And so the darkness doesn't get the last word, the light does. And I'm going to make sure that I keep bringing positivity to her story, that it didn't end there on this horrible night when she felt so alone. That actually love is stronger than death, and the love that I have for her will keep going. And the last word wasn't back then.
You're so used to what's ahead and being able to have the control of that, and this is something that you didn't have the control of. This illness, you weren't able to control it, and so it got you anxious, it got you quite low, didn't it?
Yeah. I'm also one not to ask for help. So I don't like being vulnerable. I like taking care of myself. I can do it all on my own. It was like this strength thing. And then there was this moment in my life where I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do talking about people knocking down your door, I was trying to hide from everyone. I didn't want anyone to know. Like, my family knew, but I didn't really want anyone to know. And to have people and friends knock on your door and not take no for an answer, it really also showed me who my friends were in that situation, because I wasn't the life and soul of the party anymore. I was like someone that was like stuck at home and really not in a good mood either, because obviously I had really started to kind of spiral, and I could see myself spiraling, but I couldn't stop myself. And it's been that was 2 years ago, and I can only say that I believe that I've only just come out of it. I thought I'd come out of it, and I realised I hadn't. It does keep happening. I'd love to say, I was depressed and now I'm never there again. It doesn't happen like that. You do catch yourself, and again, if you see your triggers and you see what's going, just make sure you're around people. Do the things that you love even when you don't want to. Pick up the phone even when you don't want to. Don't isolate yourself, because I did that as well. And just find that strength from within you, because I think everyone said this. It starts with you. No one else can do it for you. You are going to have to kind of pick yourself up, but you can do that with people.
And I just got really, really trapped in my mind, and I messaged Marcia and I said, babe, I need you to give me some advice and encouragement right now, because I feel overwhelmed. Like, I was overwhelming myself and getting very anxious, and I've never really experienced that before. And I, like you guys have said, like, you don't really know what to do. You feel helpless. And what was amazing, Marcia just started speaking life and encouragement into me and said, this isn't who you are. You're going to overcome this. You need to not beat yourself up for having a moment of being overwhelmed. Like, calm down, you know, because we always beat ourselves up we beat ourselves up for beating ourselves up. It's just silly. It's just silly. And I was really, really glad that I didn't go to bed with that on me. I messaged Marcia and I just said, I need someone. I said, I've never felt like this before, and it's eating me alive, and I can't go to sleep like this. And I for what Jen said before about thinking about depression being like kind of a myth, or if you haven't been through it, then you don't know. I mean, that has been obviously my extent. It has never been ongoing, but I think if I wouldn't have reached out and done a precautionary thing, which is what I did with Marcia, then I could have been the rest of that trip just a next thought, another thought saying, well, why did you eat that? Or why did you do that? Or you should get better. And it could have got very destructive very, very quickly. So I'm glad that, I don't know, I guess there was a certain amount of what Jen said before, a bravery when you just turn to a friend and go, help, because we've all said before that when we're happy to be that person for someone else.
Yes.
I love it. I'm very much like, tell me all your problems, let's talk about it. I love cheering people up, and then when it gets to that point when it's ourselves, we have to allow ourselves to be open and vulnerable. And you know, it's about the one. If you can just find that one person, and again, I know I keep harping on about this in this theme, but you know, it can be that stranger in the end of the phone. You know, the Samaritans. You know, totally. You know that there's so many free phone numbers out there that you can call. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be on your own. And you know, I could talk about this all day now because I'm learning so much and I'm getting. And thank you so much for opening up. Hey everyone. This is the last episode for this theme, so how about in the next 7 days, you look back over the 7 episodes to remind yourself of anything that resonated with you. Our hope is that perhaps you can be encouraged by one of the women's stories, or something that was mentioned in one of the group discussions, or perhaps one of the words of encouragement towards the end. We look forward to you joining us next Thursday for a brand new theme, but in the meantime, stay encouraged.